Thank you for joining us tonight. We're really excited, both Miriam and I are excited for you to join us tonight. We know this is the first steps in you being part of your education. And I'm so glad that you are here already. So tonight we're going to go over how your voice matters, understanding what self-advocacy is, and the importance of participating in your IEP meetings. Um, my name is Nicole, and I'm one of the managers here at Parents Helping Parents. I myself was an IEP learner in school. I received special education services for dyslexia, learning disability. And also I have a daughter who was an IEP learner as well and received IEP services for mental health, some learning disabilities. So we've been through this process. I understand this process personally. And also from a parent perspective, I also understand how difficult this may be for some students and how important it is for them to participate in this process. So my co-host tonight is Miriam, and she's gonna tell a little bit about you.
Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm very excited to be with everybody tonight and presenting with Nicole, one of my favorite presenters. So my name is Miriam Medeiros. I work under Nicole's team. I am a special education resource specialist. So a little bit about what I do is I provide resources for families, but I can also, sit down with you, the student, to go over your IEP if that's something that you wanted to learn more about, which I hope that you do, and create kind of help you understand what the IEP process really means for you or for your family.
Thanks, Miriam. So tonight we're really going to go a little bit about these phrases. We're going to learn what self-determination is, what as a self-advocate, and how you can be involved in your IEP process. So Miriam and I would like to play a little game with you first before we move on. Um, so what we're going to do is in your chat box, in the chat box, one of the questions we're going to ask you, Miriam and I will ask you alternating questions, and go ahead and put it in the chat box. So currently, right now, what is your favorite thing about school? Okay, we're not getting very much answers. That's a hard one. How about we go to the next question?
What is your favorite class, maybe, in school currently?
What is the hardest part about school for you?
Is there any clubs or sports that maybe you're involved in?
And what could make your life better at school? So I know those were a lot of questions and I don't see a lot of answers, which is totally okay. It's, we're just getting used to us and being with us tonight. So if you remember any of those answers, we'll go ahead and put them in the chat box. And at any point, if you guys decide you want to answer them throughout the training, you can. Um, Remember, only Miriam and I can see it, but it will kind of get us to get to know each other a little bit better. So I'm going to put those in the chat box. Thank you, Miriam. And then if you're feeling more comfortable, go ahead and do that as you move on. So it's your future. I know it may be at your age, be hard to think about the future. And how far away it is. Maybe you have been thinking about it, but maybe you haven't. But we just want to know how you can start thinking about that future. What does it look like for you? So things can be happening right now in your life and everything is ever changing, but we want to know are you going to be in charge of your life? Have you ever thought about what you're going to do after high school, or what comes next? What comes next in your life? Not just after high school, but what is your life going to look like? So one of the ways that you can be more confident in making life decisions and future planning is really starting to be involved with your IEP process, because that's just one little step of how to get you where you're going. It gives you a little bit more control over your own education, and you're learning to be part of a team that makes these decisions. So as time goes by, the first time you participate at your IEP meeting, it might be scary. You may not know what's going on. But as you go on, learning how to speak up for yourself and participating in that process is really, really going to get easier. It's just like anything in your life. Practice makes perfect, right? So as you start to do that, your skills in this area are really, really, really going to increase.
So even though taking small steps is always the way to go, we really want to encourage everybody that it's actually been proven that kids will become more involved with their IEPs, have an easier time moving from school to the adult life. And these are skills that you can learn to make a successful transition from high school to adult life, but we definitely want to promote that starting early. Self-determination might be a phrase you have never heard of. It starts with thinking about and making your own decisions. Self-advocating means being willing to speak up for yourself in the right way, right? We want to always be respectful. However, it's important to be clear about what you're asking for. Getting involved with your IEP meetings gives you that chance to practice both self-determination and self-advocacy. So we're going to watch this short video of another IEP learner talking about self-determination and self-advocacy and what that looks like for them.
We're here to talk about your future. Have you thought about your career? Where and how you will live? Will you be active in your community? It's exciting to think about your future, but it's important for you to be a part of making your plans. This is what self-determination is all about. What is self-determination? Self-determination is making your own choices and standing up for your rights. Other people would make decisions for you without your self-determination. Determine your own life directions and make choices. You get to speak up for your rights. Being supportive of yourself. Determining happiness, health, future, not just as the others want it, but as you want it. Imagine these two scenarios. One student learns about her disability, understands the kind of accommodation she needs, has a solid grasp of their own goals, and attends to all of their IEP team meetings, always willing to share his and her opinions with the IEP team. Another student knows very little about his and her disability and how she and others can address it, knows a few goals and rarely attends their IEP team meetings. In short, other controls all aspects of addressing his and her needs. Which of these students do you think will have a successful transition to adulthood? There may be times when you need more help. That's why self-advocacy is so important. Self-advocacy can mean sharing your plans and information with others to get help. By others, that can mean post-secondary schools, career certification program, or agency that can help you improve your life skills and how to manage your daily living. These are just a few. Talk with your IEP team, school counselors, or teachers to get more info that can help you with your specific needs. So you need to start participating and planning for your future. You are the best advocate in determining everything about your own life.
So, what does self-determination mean? So, the one, it may look like a simple word, self-determination, but basically, at its core, self-determination is the learning how to decide what you want, how you want it, and how to get there. So it is the planning phase, self-determination, planning what your future is going to look like, understanding what your future may look like, and making some goals for your future. So That is what self-determination is. So I hope that that clear definition shows you how easy and important just self-determination is. So you decide what you want and how to get there. It doesn't say parents, it doesn't say teachers, it doesn't say other school staff. It says you. You determine your own future. You can work as part of the team with your parents and the staff and get support along the way, but it's really about you. So determination is making choices, solving problems, setting goals, or looking at goals or options that you may have for your life, and taking the initiative to reach those goals. And also, part of self-determination is if things don't work out for those choices, is understanding the consequences of those actions as well, right? So it's not just understanding your goals, but it's an action plan, how to get somewhere. And sometimes the results are good and sometimes the results are bad. And so sometimes we have to be able to take those consequences. Accepting consequences is part of this. It is part of everyday life. We as adults, I'm sure your parents, they have consequences that happen as well. So we want you to be able to make your own decisions and feel free to do that. But there's always a result of every decision you make. So self-determination is not just about education and what your education life is going to look like, but it's really what your after school life is going to look like. It carries over into your family. It carries into your future self. So self-advocacy and self-determination sound very similar, but they're very different thought processes or theories. So where self-determination was really making those choices or deciding those choices, self-advocacy means speaking up for your needs and your wants. It's the ability to communicate your needs to your family, to your teachers, to maybe your bosses. When you speak up and let people know around you what you want, that is self-advocacy. So where self-determination is the planning, self-advocacy is the actual speaking. So you might have not known this, but you guys have been showing self-determination and self-advocacy from the time you were born. As a baby, when you were hungry or needed something, you would cry. So your body instinctively knew, I need food, right? So that was a determination. You determined something. And then when you wanted something, you cried to get and let that be known. That was your voice at the time. And your self-advocacy skills probably changed when you were a toddler and you actually had words. If you didn't want to do something and you decided you weren't going to do it, toddlers were very good at saying no, right? You probably self-determined with your friends right now. You have a friend and they want to go to the movies and you're like, no, I want to go on a hike or something, or maybe I want to go to an amusement park. You have determined what you want to do in the future, even though it's the near future, you have determined that. And then you tell your friends, no, I don't want to go, or yes, I do want to go, right? So you have used your voice. So you are already doing self-determination and self-advocacy ever since you were born through your entire lifetime, and you're doing it right now. But what is the, we want to bring that into now as you transition into adulthood and you're talking about your education, what does that look like? So here's an example of what could happen in school. So say you know your struggle in writing, but you're in history, it requires you to take a lot of notes and you really struggle in doing that. But in that history class, we all know lots of note taking. Through self-determination, you understand that notes is going to be challenging for you. It's something that you may struggle with. So you know that support is needed, but you may not know what kind of support is needed. So you might go to your parents and ask what support I can have. Maybe you talk to your teachers. So you're self-determining how to support yourself. And then once you figure out what is going to help you, maybe you need somebody else to help you take notes. Maybe you need pre-printed notes in your class. So then you communicate your challenges and you communicate your needs to your teacher. So you may, and if your teacher says, no, you can't have that, you know, you can reach out to maybe other people on your team. And we're going to talk about what that looks like a little bit later. Or you can ask your parents and say, hey, I'm struggling. I asked for this. The teacher said no. How, can you step in, right? So it's not always you having to problem solve. It is coming up with a solution to solve a problem. So self-advocacy really creates independence for you. It empowers you to find solutions. You're aware of your surroundings. You're aware of what is happening in class. So self-advocacy has 3 key elements that you should remember. And those elements are understanding your needs, knowing what kind of support you may need or who to go to help you brainstorm that support, and then communicating those needs with other people around you.
Okay, so how can I learn to self-advocate? Everybody can learn to self-advocate. It's a skill and it can take time and it can take practice. But the first step is to become more aware of your strengths and your challenges. You might want to ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I struggle with? What do I like? What do I not like? Right? There's many different resources to help you understand yourself. You can always use, for example, a self-awareness worksheet. There's also like personality quizzes that you can take, and you can go through a list of all your strengths and then take a quiz on careers and see what you really enjoy doing. You can also learn about different tools and support that can help and how to ask for them. And this comes naturally for some people once they know their challenges, and for others, it could take time to speak up. Knowing the definition now, can anybody write in the chat when was a time that you spoke up for your wants and needs? It can be at home or with your friends or at school. We'd love to hear about your experiences in the chat. And maybe we'll read through them a little bit later if anybody wants to write that in. So what is a student-led IEP? Student-led IEPs are that you, the student, participates in the making of your IEP, and you take the leadership role in making decisions about your future. Throughout the IEP process, IEP team members, led by you and equal members of that team, talk about your strengths and your needs and develop goals. Other participants in the IEP meeting can include people like your parents, teachers, support staff, administrators. One of the best ways to learn and practice self-determination and self-advocacy is by leading your IEP meetings. By leading your IEP meetings, you're being heard by the adults in your life and help shape your program for next year. And I know I just sprung it on you. I can lead my IEP meetings. Yes, so yes, you can. You have the right to lead your IEP meeting, and you can learn how to help plan your IEP. You're able to be at your IEP meetings and be an active participant, and then take part in what goes inside your IEP. Imagine having a real say into what goes into your IEP, what goals you want, and how to work best on them. Being a member of a team means you have to listen and respect and work with other team members as well. You're on mute.
I noticed. Thank you for telling me. I just had a whole conversation with myself, everybody. So before we go on to how to participate in the meetings or participate in the process, some of you may have a basic level knowledge of what an IEP actually is, but this is a quick little video that's really going to help it break it down of the importance of an IEP and why you might have an IEP, and then we'll go from there.
What's an IEP? That's a great question. What is an IEP? It's an individualized education program. It's individualized. It is all about you. It's individualized. It's your strengths and interests. It's individualized. It's the things you need to learn. Education. It's the extra help you receive to learn. Program. A written plan that describes the services and supports you receive. Why do I need an IEP? Another great question. You have a disability and need extra help to learn. You are amazing. You can do anything with the right help. What's
In this little video we saw, they used the word disability. So your family may have a different word to describe your disability, or you yourself may have something that you identify. Some people actually identify with their disability, say autism, and they may say, I have autism, or I'm a person with autism. Some people may just say, I have a disability. And in your house, and you guys may use different words, maybe like special needs. So whatever you choose to use is the word you choose to use. However, for training purposes and where we're talking to the IEP team to really get the services and support your needs, the word disability gets you there. So I always like to say, however you identify is how you identify, and nobody can tell you that's wrong, right? But when we're talking about getting that support, we have to use the word disability. Um, at your IEP meeting, we're going to go into that. If there is something you identify with more, feel free to tell that to your team so that they use that word and they understand that is how you identify as a person with a disability. I myself, I call myself an IEP learner when I was in school, meaning that I needed an IEP to learn. I also said that I had dyslexia. I told you that at the beginning. So however you feel comfortable is how you feel comfortable. So how do you help plan your IEP meeting? So if you decide to be part of your IEP meeting, you will work with your parents or your family, teachers and other school staff. They're going to look at what worked through your entire school year and what really didn't work, what is struggling with. You decide what you want and what needs to be included in your IEP to really support you. So this process is going to take time. You and the other team members need to think about and answer these type of questions. There's a we have this fillable sample profile that will be emailed to you guys later on. And it will help you answer some questions a little bit easier of what do you want, what is working, what is not working. So if you look at the picture here in the puzzle, everybody at the table, everybody at the table has a piece, right? And the IEP is the blue thing in the middle. There is one person holding that, and that is you. So while everybody may have a part of that puzzle, you complete that puzzle. You are the last component in it. Like we saw in that video, it is really, really about you. It's individualized. Individualized just means you. So the team at that table cannot really understand your needs without you. You complete that team. You are an equal member of that team. And most importantly, you are the VIP of that team. And why you are the most valuable person on the IEP team is your parents may understand you really well, school staff may understand you, but you know you. You know you the best. So it is really all about you. So what will I do at an IEP meeting? So as part of being part of your student-led IEP meeting, you can make decisions. What are those goals for next year? What accommodations you need? And accommodations are supports, right? So those supports are like, if you have trouble focusing in your classroom, maybe you need to sit closer to a teacher. Maybe you have trouble staying in the time frame of taking a test. So maybe you need extended time on your test. Maybe you have trouble taking notes and maybe you need a peer note taker. Somebody can help you take notes. So those are just a little bit of accommodations that can help you, but you can help decide what works for you. And then also what services you need. So sometimes this is extra academic support. Maybe you're struggling in math or reading or one of the components of learning, and you may need some academic support. So that is part of services that you may get. Maybe you have trouble with communication, and you may need support in learning how to communicate. You may have trouble with writing, and maybe you need support with actual physical writing. So there's lots of supports out there. It's really determined by you and the team. You've probably done assessments, you've been pulled out of class and they've done all of these tests. Those assessments help to understand who you are academically and what your school life is. And it's a lot of input from you. And then that kind of develops your services. So you're part of that team decision about accommodations, what you want for next year, and your services. So something you may want to discuss with your IEP team is that you can lead, or just like start little, is tell them what are you good at? What do you really enjoy? What are you struggling with? What is not working for you in school? What are your academic needs? These are the sections of the IEP that they'll go over. What helps you succeed in the classroom? How can you ask the teacher for help? How do you prefer the teacher for help? Do you want to go up to them? Do you want them to check in with you? Maybe you have a little sign like you have a green pin, and every time you have a green pin on your desk, you're good to go. But if you have a red pin on your desk, maybe you need a little extra support, and then maybe they can come and talk to you, right? So looking at how to communicate with the teacher and ask the teacher for help. And then you want to think about, what can my parents do in supporting me with this? The parents attended student-led IEPs on Tuesday, and they learned more about this process as well. So they will be really helpful in helping you and encouraging you to participate. So knowledge is power. Knowing what's in your IEP and how it's supposed to be implemented, or how the actions in your IEP are supposed to be done, makes you a member of that IEP team. You'll be able to see how the IEP is working, and you can help come up with ideas of what will work for you. Don't worry, you will be well prepared to talk about all these things in advance. You can talk to your parents, you can prepare for a meeting. You don't have to go in and just wing it or guess what you're going to say. You can ask for support. And also, you can prepare. Maybe you might even want to prepare with your teacher if you feel more comfortable about that. So however you're going to participate, you don't need to come in and just make it up on the spot. Being prepared can help. So we're going to watch this short little video, and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but it's how students currently participate in their process. They're from a school called Include NYC in New York City, and they really participate in their processes, and they're going to talk about their strengths and stuff. And I think it's a really encouraging video and easy way to start talking about your IEP services.
My classification is learning disability.
I have a speech and language disability, emotional disability,
other health impairment. My counselors, my teachers, mom and dad.
my mom, my social worker, my gym teacher, Megan,
my mom and my teachers.
My learning strengths are being independent.
I'm into photography. I like to cook.
Taking down notes, asking questions, and writing.
My learning strengths is math.
I'm like more of a visual learner, being a leader and helping others.
I don't give up easily.
Some of my learning challenges are reading books.
My struggles is participating in class and asking for help.
Working in groups and solving some math problems.
Well, my IEP, I get extra time on tests, and I have the ability to have 2 teachers in a room for one teacher teaching, the next one helping me with whatever I don't understand.
Calculator, extra time, and note taker.
Getting one-on-one time with a teacher, just me and that teacher.
Reading out loud, using pictures.
5-minute breaks so I don't get anxiety.
I'm getting passages read out loud to me. One of my short-term goals is to graduate high school and go to college.
Getting my high school diploma.
Passing all my classes and going to college.
To graduate high school.
To get my diploma and to get my license.
I want to be a sneaker designer.
To become a psychiatrist.
To start a business. Become an EMT.
Cosmetology, fashion, and entertainment.
I want a career in photography.
An early childhood education teacher.
Forensic, solving crimes, CSI unit.
Having 2 cars and a big house.
Some things I need to do is finish high school and go to a 4-year college.
I need to learn how to stay focused.
Finish getting my credits and graduate high school.
Get a degree in business.
Attending college or trade school.
Sign up for Access VR and get training.
Support from like my family, friends.
To believe in myself.
You saw in this video, the first thing that they did is they understood their disability. They understood why they were getting services. And it doesn't have to be because you just struggle in academics or schoolwork. If you have anxiety, if you have emotional needs, all of those can come into play when getting IEP support. So they kind of explained that process that we've been talking about this whole time, which is understanding your disability or however you identify it. You also understand where to get support and how to get support. Understanding your strength. What does you really like? And it doesn't have to be I'm good at this. It could be something you really enjoy doing that maybe you want to get better at. And then also, where are you struggling? Where do you feel like you need support? And then really thinking about the future. What do you want to do? Some of these kids wanted to go to college. Some of them wanted to go to a trade school. Some of them want to have lots of cars and a big house, right? So it's whatever your goals are, and then figuring out how to get there. And that is the purpose of the IEP, is to give you that support so that you can learn, so that you can live independently as an adult.
So why should you lead your IEP meetings? So students who actively participate throughout the IEP planning process are more likely to be engaged in school and successfully achieve their goals. We talked about it a little bit ago, where the more involved you are in making your decisions now, it follows you in making better decisions, because by this point you'll have so much practice. And some of the advantages of leading your IEP can be things like you're going to take charge of your learning and have more of a voice in your education plan. It also gives you time to think about your education and what are your life goals. It improves your communication skills. You will gain the ability to explain to others what you need to be successful in school, on the job, in college, in training environments, and when you're living on your own. At age 18, educational rights are transferred over to you. So this means that parents are no longer making these decisions. You will be the ones signing the decisions about yourself and signing your IEP. Leading your IEP enables you to know the process so you're prepared for these changes. As with their peers, students who led their IEP meetings developed stronger self-determination skills and acquired greater knowledge about life after high school transition. Is there a disadvantage? Not really, right? But of course, it might seem scary or hard, but of course, you guys can do this. And what does the research say, right? Students with disabilities and IEP learners, just like yourselves, left school more self-determined and were more than twice as likely as their peers to be employed 1 year after graduation, and they earned significantly more money. 3 years after graduation, they were more likely to have jobs that provided benefits like health coverage and vacation pay, and were more likely to be living somewhere other than their family homes. These are facts. The more you get involved now, the better off you will be in your future, and present get better too because you have a say. And we're gonna watch another clip. This is about Garrett, who is 18 in high school. Throughout the years, Garrett learned and practiced self-determination and advocacy. This was the first IEP he led on his own. He has been able to get internships and extended learning opportunities, play sports, and have inclusive education. He's also had paid work opportunities, family engagement, and is graduating with the regular high school diploma. Here's what the process looked like for him.
Before we also play the video, I just want to say Garrett's story, I think he may say it in this video, but he had an injury that caused some brain communication issues. So he wasn't born with a disability. Some people are, some people develop disabilities, but also these are different ways to communicate. So how Garrett is communicating or how he chooses to lead this IEP meeting is how he chooses. It's his own decision. So I want to make sure that when you're thinking about it, think about what Garrett is doing and thinking about how you can participate. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some of those ideas a little bit later. But I wanted to say, this is when we watch a video of another person with a disability, this is their own experience, but glean that what we need from it and then leave what we don't need, okay?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Garrett Sales. I'm a sophomore at Conville High School. Let me tell you about myself. My interest: eating chocolate and peanut butter, playing captain flag and unified basketball, learning more about being independent and prepare for college. My abilities: interacting with people, playing sports, making friends. Things that are harder for me: remember more than 1 or 2 directions, geometry, memory.
So you had a huge year with transition.
I'll say.
You are one of the few sophomores I know that has a job. And you pretty much got that all by yourself.
Our biggest thing is working towards that goal of independence. That's really huge for him.
So.
Next year too, I think we talked about doing internships.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Yep,
Right.
and getting you outside of the building, even maybe going down to the middle school or some of the other schools around
That's the
here.
goal. Yep, that's I really want to do. I really work well with young children. I am going to start looking at colleges.
So you've been doing very well in English class.
I feel like I get distracted very easily though with like other classmates of mine.
Mom and Dad are here, and
nobody's
I'm
gonna
here,
leave you alone.
and Miss Mon is here, and these ladies are here. We're all here for you. And so when you have frustrations, or you're like, I just don't get it, we say, okay. And Garrett, remember, when you're feeling overwhelmed, go to those first couple slides, which is who you are as a person. Goes so much farther than anything, and that is that you get along really well with people. You have people skills. You're caring. You're loving. You're outgoing. Those go a long way. And remember that when you're feeling overwhelmed. Okay, I'm really a great person, and I just want to push myself farther.
Yep.
So don't get too overwhelmed about stuff.
Okay.
So I thought this was a great meeting. Can I do the last slide?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you all for coming. Thanks for all your help. And yeah.
I love it. That's awesome.
I feel like obviously it's all about me and it's my IEP meeting. I'm in charge of it.
You did a good job leading your own meeting for the first time. No, I think we covered everything. Thank you.
I think we did.
So, how do you get started? So, first thing is you are already at this training, so you're getting some skills. And I'm not sure if we talk about it, but I want to talk about some tips of how you participate because we all learn differently. We all see things differently. And so I think how we participate is really dependent on you. So Garrett led his own IEP meeting. He used a PowerPoint or a Google Slides to present, right? But he really focused on his abilities. And then when they were talking about things he was doing well, he was able to input, yeah, but I get distracted, right? So understanding yourself is one of the most important steps. But if you feel like you can't get up and lead your entire IEP meeting, maybe you videotape yourself and talk about those talking points. Like, these are my abilities, or this is my area of need. You can make a profile about yourself of what your abilities are, what you need support with, who you are as a person, so the team can understand you. Maybe you're a really good drawer and want to draw your stories and your components. Maybe you do not communicate well verbally talking, and maybe you use a device. So using a device is fine as well. Maybe you have anxiety and don't want to talk at that meeting, but you want your own words being said. So maybe think about using an AI person or an avatar to talk for you. So it doesn't have to just be you in person talking in front of it. It is your comfortability and however you want to communicate with that team, what those abilities really are. So that first step is really knowing, how do you want to participate? You've been to this training. Talk to your family, talk to your teachers, ask how you can start getting involved. Asking, maybe you just want to go to the first part of your meeting and listen. Figure out what your challenges are, and then really maybe sit with your parents or somebody that you really, really trust at school. Maybe it's one of your favorite teachers or one of your favorite counselors, and come up with a plan of how do you start very slowly. Maybe some of you are go-getters and want to just start leading your IEP meeting, but formulate a plan to talk about. So tonight's slides and everything can be here. You'll get them in an email as well. But we just really encourage you to take those steps of how to get started. Is first of all, sit down, think to yourself, how do I want to participate in my IEP meeting? Or how do I want to participate in this process? Think about your strengths and how to use them so that you could be a strong advocate. Talk to a trusted adult like your parents or somebody at school that can help you formulate a plan of how to do this, and then move forward on what are my next steps, right? Maybe you're a senior in high school and you're wanting to go quicker than normal, and your goal is by June, when I graduate, I want to have my last IEP meeting and I want to lead it by my entire self. So think about what is comfortable for you. So leading an IEP meeting doesn't always come naturally to people. Your parents, when they were part of this process, they had to learn many things too. It still doesn't come easy to them. So feeling nervous is okay. It's part of being a human being. The first time you do it, you may feel a little like I can do this, and then all of a sudden you go and you're quiet, right? That's normal. It might happen. Your parents that might have happened to your parents. I know when I went to my daughter's first IEP, I was all prepared and then I didn't say nothing. Her first IEP meeting. Even for me as an adult, it was I had a lot to learn. But practice makes perfect, like I said. And watching this video, he's not going to show, it's a very short video, but he's going to talk a little bit about his nerves and what was the outcome of having a student-led IEP meeting.
Student's perspective on running his own IEP meeting for the first time.
All right, so you're getting ready to run your first meeting. How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Yeah, what do you have here?
I have an agenda, this paper over here, for what we're going to be discussing during the meetings. I have my iPad, which I'm going to be zooming from for the meeting, and I have a note taker, which I'm going to be using to present my current and new VI and O&M goals.
All right, awesome. Okay, so the meeting is done. How did it go?
It went amazing.
Yeah? You happy you ran the meeting yourself?
Yeah, that was really refreshing, really great to just run it.
Mm-hmm. And did you feel like everybody participating was able to contribute?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think everyone pretty much, spoke, did their part. It was, pretty great.
Awesome. Well, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So he was really nervous at the beginning, and then, it was a lot better. He felt so much better. He was confident. He was empowered by the end of this meeting. And so I think sometimes a little bit of a nervousness is, what if I say something wrong? What if I do something wrong? What if I act like I don't know what I'm talking about? It's okay. Say how you feel. Everybody at that meeting is there to help you. So you're not going to say a wrong thing. If you're honest and say, I hate school and I hate everything about school, the team is going to sit there and work with you and figure out how to make you enjoy school, or maybe not enjoy school, but get through the day, right? So you're not ever going to say the wrong thing. It is your education. It is you going to live independently as an adult. Even though your parent is the constant in your life and they're going to be around into your adulthood, all of those other people at that table won't be around, right? So them making decisions about your life is not going to help you because they're not going to be around. So the best person always is your parents or your guardian or whoever you live with that goes to your IEP meetings. They're your constant. They're going to be around. They're going to support you through this journey. So they're always the first person of level of support, but ultimately it is your IEP meeting. You are the I in IEP, right? So we want to make sure that you understand your importance. And it's as simple as understanding what you want and then speaking up for it. So I hope that today was empowering for you. I hope you learned about how it is to be part of your education process. And after this meeting, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. I want you to sit down with whoever you live with and talk to them and say, it could be your parents, and we all have different family dynamics. It could be your grandparents, whoever is your support person in your house. Talk to them today and ask them, let's call an IEP meeting and let me lead one part of it. And how do I do that? And how can you help me do that? So I hope it has empowered you to do that. So that you can really actively be a part of this process. So does any of you have any questions about anything we said? Any input that you would like to talk about? If you learned how about this? If you learned one thing today that you want to take away, how about you use a little emoji button and do a little heart or something to show that you took something away? Anything? Oh, so we have some people learning. So another way is, I know you may not have questions right now. That was a lot of information. We hope you were empowered a little bit. And then also we're here to help. We do encourage you to call us with your parents. So if you want to learn about special education and the processes and what an IEP is, or helping you prepare for your IEP meeting, you can also talk to your parents and say, hey, can you reach out to Parents Helping Parents and set up a meeting with me and you so we can talk about how to start implementing these things. So we'll be happy to meet with you and your parents and answer any questions. We do say that if you want to email us with a question, info@PHP, or you can always email Miriam or Nicole. We encourage you to CC your parents, right, so that they're aware of the information. But one way that's how you could that you can talk to us. So if you have any questions in the future. So we're not going to take a poll, but this is one of the ways that you can reach us. So many of your parents probably signed you up for this, so they probably have our contact information. And we just wanted to thank you guys again for joining us today. Both Mary and I really enjoyed spending an hour with you and learning with you. We always like to learn and think of things. And we are always inspired by those videos of children with disabilities. I know my child inspires me. You guys inspire me by being here. And just really take power, take your voice. Your voice really does matter. Miriam.
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody also for coming tonight. We always enjoy doing this presentation because we always get to interact with parents, but not always with the students. And like we said, the IEP is always catered to the student. So we welcome you. We thank you guys for coming, and we welcome any questions that you guys have after this, even if it's through an email.
Okay, bye everybody. Go do whatever you need to do. Go watch some TV, go finish homework, whatever you need to do, relax. And we hope that you make one effort to participate slightly in your IEP moving forward. Have a nice day, everybody.